yes, we always have to go back and add or alter the test the moment you change the code. That's where like we even encourage the culture of TDD using this SAI Pro tool. The moment you design your wireframing, the moment you do your wireframing for the GUI, use these automation tools. The moment you've created your mock screens, write the corresponding call flows, which will just do a button clicks and capture the event flows. So it will help. So this way, it was beneficial for us to cut down on the efforts. What we do is, the one way to make your agile case study success in your organization is to make a lot of noise about it. The moment you have had a success about it, let your team members talk about it during lunch. Publish it to the internal portals. So that's how we do. So we published this one of the internal efforts. So if you see one of the unit, it had around 1,500 scenarios of testing. So it used to take around 41% days. Post automation, it takes just 15 hours. So this is the kind of benefit that we see using automation. So when we do this, the teams can really go back and put the effort of the rest 30 days into the feature development, or doing better code of, or re-architecting the solution, refactoring, instead of doing the testing. So testing is like a house chorus work. The moment today, the way we outsource it to somebody doing it for us, or robots doing for us, we could have the tests automated. So this is a kind of what we have done internally, and we keep publishing. And as a part of constant reviews with each of these units, we say what is the level of automation that your teams have achieved. So based on this, they can commit a predictability. Can I deliver it next Tuesday or not? Because they know the exact amount of time that it takes to execute the automated tests. Next one, the pyramid, I talked about the GUI part. The second one is the functional testing. How many of you used RoboRide? These are again open source tools, RoboRide, and then you have staff stacks of IBM, which you can use freely and verify for your functional testing. So our teams went ahead and used Robo and Ride combination for doing the functional testing. We have a charging system which has to talk to different IONs and do a billing and get back the responses. So now we have to have so many ION simulators and test it. Manually, if a person does smoke test, he would take 3 days. And if at all he has to do all the functional tests, it would take around a week's time. So when we automate these cases, we have a very good results, so we could save time. So I just recorded that. I'll just show you how it appears.
Nextly, let's talk about the functional testing of the applications. So what we did as part of the testing pyramid is we went ahead with the automation of the test cases for Delight, Ride, similarly a robot tool used for starting, and as part of we went ahead and used the tool to write the test cases. So as part of the DB Lite, first thing was whether whenever we ship the software is the installation and do the installation, is the installation complete. So there is a way the test suits are written to verify the installation files. Then this being a charging application needs to talk to different ION components. So we simulated the different ION behaviors like using different protocols like SCAP event suite or SCAP version 2 suite, or even the OGA suite. So these are the test cases that are related to testing of the DB Lite application towards different ION interfaces. So now, with having written all these test suites automated, all we do is we execute them through the single control of Jenkins. Here, for the demonstration purpose, we run it from the editor itself by starting. So we have around 38 scenarios for the smoke test of the application, and you would see that these tests, as they get executed, we get to see the overall status. In fact, earlier the manual testing used to involve a human being sitting for 2 days and doing just merely the smoke test. Through the automation, we have reduced this time to maximum of 10 minutes. And in fact, we went ahead and automated the rest of the scenarios that are essential for validating the behavior of the application towards different IONs. So we get to see that the execution of this provides us finally a report that helps us to use and analyze what's the success criteria of the test execution. So this is the second step that we took towards the automation and has helped us to save the cost towards manual testing, as well as made the team more agile to focus on making code better and work towards building the
One is the
features in the
API-based
product
testing. This is more
rather
of
than
interface
really be
testing.
worried about
So it's talking to
doing
the
the
different
task
IOs,
of
network
every
elements.
time
So there could be
testing
provisioning
the
happening on the
features
HLR.
that
So
were
we would
added
send those
earlier.
commands. So it
The
verifies
regression
those things.
testing is the one
So
which
this is
takes
about the
a
right
lot
tool
of
that we're
time
used with respect
because
to the
these
functional testing. Okay, right. Today, how do we write test cases? He brought out a very good question. When we have JUnit framework or unit testing frameworks, what's so special about using RIDE? RIDE is a UI, wherein you can write test cases. Most of the things, the industry challenge is, we do not have a standard way of writing test cases today. It becomes a DSL. It's a domain-specific language. If at all we have to write tests. The way we write C++, C, Java, or Python, or Haskell, those all languages have a defined grammar for it. How about having a specific grammar for writing test cases? The moment you say login, it should mean login, irrespective of whether I do it on for telecom-based product or for any other product in e-commerce or retail industry or wherever. We do not have such DSL language. Whereas using a keyword-driven approach, you could create one. The intention of having chosen RIDE is to make a standard of writing test cases a unique standard in the organization. So there are test members who would be working on one financial product today within the mobile domain. They could be working on a lifestyle product tomorrow. So when they transition between the teams, each teams have their own culture of writing the test cases. So we would like to make it a uniform standard. So the keyword-driven approach helps us, and that is very well done in the RIDE platform, RIDE tool. So that's the reason we are using RIDE. But if at all we would like to run it from the command line, we just use the PyBot and run it or invoke it through the CI. So last one is care for clean code. So most of us, we write code, okay? As developers, we actually need to sign off our code. How do we do it is practice TDD, the red, green, clean culture, and write unit test for reusable modules. The modules that get shipped across multiple components, they should have these unit tests because the usage is very high and it is getting used across multiple products, and encourage the constant refactoring during the change requests or bug fixes. How do you go about clean code is using the frameworks. First is using JUnit framework for Java, and we have a lot of C products. In fact, we believe more on C for the performance benefits that we get. And in telecom, the volumes that we talk about is really huge. So we use C or C++ to do a lot more coding in those applications than using Java. So how do we do unit testing for Java? So that's where we have used the check framework in-house and done this. And in fact, we also have some applications which run on PHP, ones which have been written 7 years back. So there also we use respective testing frameworks now. Practicing is to measure the code coverage. So recently we started adding, as I said, the Sonar journey begins. You can add Kubernetes or other MR tools to measure the code coverage. So start measuring the code coverage. So how much, with each releases, we should slowly start increasing the code coverage that we have. And test-driven development for the new code that gets written. So as we have a lot more legacy code, what is the practice that we are doing is, whenever we get an issue from the field, so first is to run or simulate that issue, then write the test code for it and fix it. So that's the only way for us to move away from the legacy code. If at all we sit all together one fine day and say, hey, okay, this team is going to clean up the legacy, it is not going to work for us because we constantly have a lot more changes. As I'm talking, the rest of the team in the organization sitting is adding features. So for telecom sector, it's like always there is one or the other change that comes in. One of the HLR or IN upgrades, then we have to upgrade the APIs and do a lot more changes. The left-hand side, you could see we all talked about Agile Manifesto. I'm more passionate something more than Agile Manifesto. That's the manifesto for software craftsmanship. How many of us in this profession would like to really contribute back to the profession or do well what we really do well, like whatever we do? So they want to raise the bar. Okay. In fact, Mahindra also has a slogan, Rise. Okay. So here, if you see manifesto for software craftsmanship is, as an aspiring software craftsman, we are raising the bar of software professional development by practicing it and helping others to do it better. Through this, they have come to value not only working software. It was working software was comprehensive documentation. Here it is one step ahead. So it's like not only working software, but also well-crafted software. not only responding to change, but also steadily adding value, not only individuals and interactions, but also a community of professionals. Not only customer collaboration, but also productive partnership. So this is what is software craftsmanship. So slowly we should start encouraging our team members to be one of this. Encourage them, because this is our profession. So we should have a professional community within the organization. The way we come for forums like this outside the organization, we could as well do within the organization and gain the knowledge. So this is about the third layer. Finally, the journey. It all would seem so easy for us. You might ask, Mahesh, it might have been so easy, you have just done the pyramid inverse and have accomplished the task. No, I would say our journey has been more of a cheetah way. Okay, you all must have seen New York Times, or this article got published in TOI also sometime. How does cheetah hunt? Is cheetah known for its speed or it's for agility? It's for agility. Cheetah, if you see, there was this exercise wherein they had put this collar and they had measured the speed, okay? Cheetahs tracked during a successful hunt in open grassland. It started at a high speed, but it could catch its prey because it could swiftly move, change its direction as and when it wanted. So cheetah always hunts or gets its prey for its agility and not for its speed. Most of us always think about agile as only productivity, maintaining or increasing or improving the speed. It's not about speed. It's always about responding to the business needs accordingly and maintaining a constant pace. So agility and rapid acceleration versus speed, and course corrections were done during our journey. We had a lot of issues as well which we could be solved. Which tool to use? Is there a better tool? What could be fixed in the tool? Support from the vendor. So that's how our journey has been. So recap of the key takeaways. First one is understand the context and context of operation. Iterate agile adoption incrementally. Measure the quality. Set up CI with the static analysis tools, which could give you first level metrics. Then go back and start automating tests, because then you would know how fast you are automating or how slow you are automating. Last one is care for I'm open for any questions. Yeah.
You spoke about keyword-driven framework and other automation that can be applied for user acceptance.
Fitness was also other framework that we evaluated. It's a good framework to use. Honestly, it's a good framework, but we chose RIDE because we would like to build upon the keyword-driven and come out with a DSL. Within the organization, we would like to standardize the way we write the test cases. So that's the reason we went with that. That could be accomplished using fitness also. So what we do whenever we choose the open source tools is the community really active? Can we really contribute back? So based on that, it's the best way to choose an open source tool. If an open source tool has been stabilized, if your team members, any one of them is willing to contribute, then it makes good option to use it.
These were the places.
Absolutely. So there are theories about thermostability and GC richness, which sort of feed into this concept, but there's not much experiment to support it.
The translation start site will like move or shift because of the shift in the G4 sequence.
This is a raging question. Several people have pointed this out, that there might be something going on with alternative splicing. While the field has started looking into RNA sequences and RNA G4s, I don't think enough people have moved into looking at the biology of alternative.
I would only like to write code, we would say you are not welcome to our team, because testing is not a separate responsibility. The testing is ideally, because we are maturing as an industry, is going back to the source. The one who writes the writes code, he or she should write the test. The QA, the QA should only be a validation body. It should just certify, okay, all this, whatever you claim, you're doing it right. If your project that he asked a very good question. When is the right time to start the automation? If it's a prototype, it is going a lot of changes. I wouldn't recommend automation there, because it's not yet got to a stage wherein it's kind of stable. So for example, when we do, today we are doing some framework, internally developing some application. If the features are confirmed by the customer, okay, this is what is MVP. The moment you have reached MVP, then you should start really focusing on the automation part. Otherwise, because you may throw it away, there is no point in putting the efforts.
No, the SAP applications, the source repository is something different than SVN and all, right?
Okay.
So for such applications, what are the CI tools that we have to?
See, most of the CI tools that are there, they have plugins to fetch talk to any of these SCM repositories. It's not only with respect to SVN. So,
But if you take like SAP applications,
okay.
so the repository is completely different. They don't have the plugins that is readily available for Jenkins and Ansible.
Okay.
So in such case, how do you go with the CI?
One is to write to the open community, because there are a lot more developers who would be interested to contribute back to the community. If they just mention that my requirement is something like this, if there's any tool, they would write back. That's one approach. Other approach is writing a Jenkins plugin is not really difficult. So one of your team member could be assigned. That's what I said, technical excellence and motivated individual. If you have two of them in your team, just explain them what needs to be done. And they could figure out, and they could write a framework or they could write a plugin which could be contributed back to the community.
Up to your knowledge, is there any unit testing framework for SAP?
Uh,
You said J for J for
Yeah, I'll come back. I really don't know at this point of time. I'll get back. Yeah, last question, please.
So only 8 teams scored 20 and above. So we'll be announcing the names of those 4 teams. Sorry, those 8 teams. (13) are innovators from Infosys. Avinash Agarwal and Rajeshwari. Can you just please stand up so that we can see where you are? So great going, you scored 20 out of 32. So you are amongst the top 8 Agile teams out of 4,000 plus, 2,000 plus teams that played Agile Olympiad. With score of 20 again, and a tie with at the 7th place with the previous team, we have team from Lexmark called Lexlite. Anamika Banyan and Arindam Roy. So they have yes, are they here? Can they stand up, please? Okay, well done. The team at the 6th position scored 20 and a half. So most of the people got this answer incorrect and they got half score, but because they were partially right. What would a card with the infinity symbol on it mean in planning poker? So most of them were close, so they got half, but very few could get the right answer. So they got the full mark, that's why this half score. So this team at the 6th position is from Collabnet, Mr. V. Bhardwaj and Gauri Shankar. Well done, team. We have another team at the 5th position with score of 20 and a half from Siemens, Value Generators. So, Mr. Badri Prasad and Uma V. So you are at the 5th position. Now the final 4 who will play the Agile Olympia 2013. So I won't name in terms of score because scores of semi-finals will not count in the finals. So they are equal here. So the first team is UU3. It's a team from Cisco Systems, Danny Fernandez and Rajkumar Thakur. Can we have them, please? Sir, do you have your partner with you? Then we'll have to choose the 5th team to come for the semi-finals. Sorry, sir. This is not considered. This will not be considered. We informed you well in advance. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, let me apologize once again. You are the 5th team. Okay. So that's why it was mentioned that you were not there. You're just there. So we have the 4 teams. Sorry, that was the 5th team. My mistake. Sorry. So the 4th team is craftsmen from Mahindra Comviva. Can we have them here, please? Mahesh V. Ghatge and Lata Reni from Mahindra Comviva, one of the 4 semi-finalists. So can you please take one of these round tables? The second team to qualify for semi-finals is Committed Club from Cognizant. Committed Club from Cognizant, Mr. Ramakrishnan and Kabirasan. Third team to qualify for semi-final is from Lexmark, Niranjan Roy and Surajit Bashi. Can we have them here, please? And the team which scored the highest in Agile Olympiad semi-finals and they have been consistently scoring high scores in round 1 and round 2 is the team from Infosys Limited, InfiPrompt Agile, Dhyaneshwaran P and Suma Kumar. Well done, team. But remember, the difference between the first and the second is only half a score. So the first 4 led over the 5th and the rest by 2 points. So we have the final 4 teams. I'd like to invite Mr. Srinivas. Mr. Srinivas, he will be the quiz master for the final rounds. I'll be keeping the score, and you will be also able to see the questions here. I'll have Mr. Srinivas here. He will explain you
be a situational round, right? So in this, each of the teams will be asked one question, and it's a situation. And you got to respond with what someone or what you would do in that situation, keeping principles in mind, Scrum principles or extreme programming principles in mind. So there would be one question each for the situational round for each team. There is no carryover of the question to the next team.